All right, you guys know what we're gonna do. What's up, Blockheads? Today we're doing a test ride on the new 2018 Harley-Davidson Softail Street Bob. I've had an absolute ton of requests for me to record a test ride on this bike. So Orlando Harley hooked it up. Yarik or Yarik told me to come up here and take a test ride, so here we are. Just to quickly go over some of the specs of this bike, it is a Milwaukee 8 107 cubic inch engine, which translates to roughly about 1,750 cc's. Harley gives the numbers of it being 110 foot-pounds of torque at 3,000 RPMs, weighs about 670 pounds wet. Seat height is 25.8 inches, which is one of the lower seat heights. They say it has a 28.5 degree lean angle both left and right, has a 3.5 gallon tank, reportedly gets 47 miles per gallon, has a 6-speed transmission. Braking is a single disc 4-piston fixed front and a 2-piston floating rear, and it does come stock with a 2-into-2 exhaust. MSRP starts at like mid-14s. Just to quickly go over the Milwaukee 8 as well. It is oil liquid cooled cylinder heads, plus it has radiator in the front. It runs cooler as less combustion heat is picked up by a shallower 4-valve combustion chamber, and more heat is actually dissipated by the large area head cooling fins. It has 2 spark plugs per cylinder, shorter exhaust port, which also helps to keep it cooler, and it has 8 valves, which equals higher airflow capacity, which means it's 50% greater than that of previous engine, and once again helps to keep it running cooler. It does have a single counter-rotating internal balancer used to cancel about 75% of the engine's primary shake. They actually did have that up to about 100%. They did away with most of the shake on it, but people didn't like it, so they actually dialed it back to 75%. But yeah, it's a quick overview. Let's go ahead and get Yarik's info about the bike and take it for a ride.
Youthful and rebellious.
Youthful and rebellious.
Straight down, blacked out, 107, a lot of power, different frame, obviously different suspension, completely different bike. The tank is smaller now. It's 3.5 gallons.
Right.
You're talking about the only option is a 107 engine. There's no 114 option for that. You have now the new handlebars that are powder coated, blacked out.
Oh, it's like that wrinkle black too. That's cool.
Right. They are thinner as well. So they are thinner, although the grips are still the same. You have your all your odometer, everything now is right here at the bars, just like at the breakout. They've done the same thing.
Right.
Beautiful, simple, easy display. No fuss, no mess, no nothing.
Right in the clamp, yeah.
There's no ABS on this kind of bike, but what you do get, you get key fobs. Key fobs is going to be the standard or everything. Gel seat.
Gel seat as per normal with the new 18s.
It's a beautiful, gorgeous bike, then with that single suspension that you have, single spring.
This is going to be Harley's like one of their lower priced new 2018s. I think they're what, in the 14? They start at what, 14 and a half?
They're in the mid-teens. They're between 14 to 18, depending obviously on the color options, depending on what you want to do with it. Nice thing that they've done a standard right now, a new headlight.
Right, the LED with the ring.
USB port, so you can charge your phone, you can charge your devices. I did try to charge a Sina device, and it worked flawlessly.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's cool, man.
Besides that, honestly, the biggest thing that I hear from clients that have tried this bike is the only downside is the tank. If you're okay with
smaller tank,
gallons, it's still changeable. You can still change it like any other Harley, change whatever you like for personality. we are still talking about a massive amount of power for a very light machine.
Yeah.
Comparing this one to the 2017 or 16 models on the Street Bob, we're talking about a little bit position of the bars, a little bit different position of the whole bike, obviously because of the frame, and you sit a little bit more back, and your foot controls are a little bit more forward compared to the regular standard mid controls.
So they're not quite forward, but they're not quite mid. They're slightly forward mid.
Correct.
You said what, 5'10", 5'11"?
Yeah, 5'10", 5'11".
Would you mind sitting on it so we can get an idea?
Super comfortable, flat-footed. This is a great bike as well for somebody who's short. With this new body, it really feels nimble. It's only 630 pounds. This is nothing. This is light.
Yeah, for a Harley. Let's crank her up and go before we get rain. I feel like every time you and me do test rides, it's about to rain. Always. All right, so the new 2018 Street Bob with the 107 cubic inch Milwaukee 8. First time getting on. Alright, so like I just said, we are test riding the new 2018 Street Bob. This bike has been highly requested from you guys. I've gotten an absolute ton of requests to test ride this as per my other test ride videos. So we'll start off, woo, yeah, he did mention torque. He's pulling me back. So as per the other reviews, we're going to start off in the same fashion and talk about the controls. So controls are pretty standard for Harley. You've got your selection switch, which is going to change the stuff on the gauge or the top clamp display right here. You've got your horn, which is down at the bottom. You've got your high beams, your low beam, and then you hold it down for your passing light, which you guys can see coming on there. Me pressing it. Yeah, I shifted into second and it like pulled, and I'm like, all right.
Very surprising. I thought the 1.2 would be something like that. Like the 107 on this kind of bike?
Yeah. So on the left side, you do also have your indicator for the left. On the right side, you've got your on-off or your kill switch, your hazards up top, your starter on the bottom, and then your right signal. All of that stuff, like your signals, are going to be displayed on your little dummy light area right there. So this does have the 107 cubic inch engine. It's a nice bike, man. It's crazy to think it's one of the Street Bobs too.
Yep. Yeah, Street Bob and Street Bob.
So what, 17 Street Bob?
No, this is actually 16.
16? Looks good, man. So yeah, the 107 cubic inch Milwaukee 8. Basically, the engine runs cooler. It also has a oil liquid cooled heads, which there's a oil or a cooler basically right in the front, like the radiator, I guess you could say, mounted nicely between the frame. Now the bars on this are a little higher up for what most of the Harleys have or have come out with, but they're nice. It's actually a really nice kind of, you know, feels very level. Going over the display, this is one of their new displays for 2018. It is all digital. It has your fuel level on the left side, your miles per hour in the middle, miles on the bottom, total miles, and a gear indicator in the upper right. And you can change that thing in the bottom, basically where the miles are, with the selection switch here. So if you press it in, changes to trip A, trip B, remaining mileage, 115. We've got the time, RPMs, which I'll probably leave it there. Wow, that's surprising. So I warmed them up a little bit beforehand, but we're going to go ahead and get on it here in just a minute. So I've ridden a couple of the 114s. Just to give you a little bit of my background, I am coming from riding a Lowrider S, which is a 110. It's a 2017 Lowrider S. And before that, I had a Iron 883, which was an 883cc. Road debris. So this thing actually pulls pretty decent. I'm surprised. Before we get into doing a couple pulls though, just to also go over the ergonomics of the bike. as we were saying earlier, you don't have, it's not quite mid controls, but it's not quite forward controls. It's like, I think they call them slightly forward mid controls. Now these foot pegs, unlike the ones on like the Fat Bob and the Fat Boy, they are like your traditional Harley foot pegs, which are totally wrapped around, coated in rubber, right? Yeah, pretty traditional Harley foot pegs. The shifting does feel very much the same on this one as the new 2018s. Very positive shifts, both up and down. It's got this really nice click to it. I'm kind of curious as to what they changed there. It does have a 6-speed transmission. Let's see here. Let's try to do a 20 roll. Holy sh**. Dude, I chirped. It chirped first to second, and then it chirped second to third. That's impressive, man, like for a 107. I mean, a 107 is still a pretty good size engine. I think it converts like 1,700, like right around 1,750 cc's. I did not expect the chirp though in the gears. So in terms of ergonomics, it does feel a little cramped up. I'm 5'10", and my knees do feel a little higher than like what I'm normally used to. It's nice, man. So one thing I will say though, downside, the seat on this thing is not very comfortable. And I feel like I'm really sliding out of it. It kind of has this little dip to where it tries to hold you, but like you can really feel like the back of the seat, and it's really not that comfortable. Versus the other ones, like on the Fat Bob, has been just insanely comfortable. For the price point, I mean, that's an easy solution. I mean, you're getting a 107 new Milwaukee 8 on an 18 Harley with the monoshock. Suspension on this thing is great. A lot of the new ones come with ABS, but not the Street Bob. But the price point is much lower than the new other, and like a lot of the new 18s. All right, 20 roll once again. I like it, but I don't like it as much as, like, say, the Fat Bob. That's a crazy bike. That's a 16 Street Bob. But yeah, I mean, you can feel the difference between like riding a Fat Bob and all like the refinements that has, like the ABS, versus, you know, riding this without the ABS, and it's not as smooth. The seat, I mean, the seat holds you, but I would definitely probably upgrade that first and foremost, depending on what you can work out deal-wise with them. You know, price-wise, I said this is in the mid-teens. I imagine there's going to be tons of aftermarket options for it, as there always is with Harley. But yeah, like my overall thoughts and feedback, I mean, it's smooth with the Milwaukee 8 engine, you know, and the counterbalancer that takes off, what, like 70% of the shake or whatever. It pulls really nice though, man, like very nice. It's very torquey. And the rider height, man, it is real low. I mean, my knees are very bent. And a thing that I always love about these new 18s is the kickstands. They're awesome. Bike doesn't lean over as far. Overall thoughts, it's a fun ride. It's very torquey. The seat would be the first thing I change. It's not comfortable at all. That back wall, like how they have it, man, your butt is like setting like right here. My butt is anyways for my height, and you can really feel it. And it doesn't, like, you slide around a lot more, you know. When I was getting on it, I was sliding off of it. Yeah, that's one of the things I was saying, is you're gonna customize it. So it's like people, I mean, I just changed the seat on my you know, my Lowrider S, and the stock seat I think was actually more comfortable than the Saddleman that I replaced it with, oddly enough. But I went for more of a minimal seat, but I mean, that's going to be super easily changeable. But the one that it comes with, yeah, exactly, mid-teens, it's going to be more of your like mid-level Harley, Sportsters being more your entry level, and then the Touring and some of the Softails are going to be more your high-end, pricier. But for the price point, not a bad bike. Personally, I would spend a little more to get those refinements on some of the other Softails, or I like my Lowrider S though. I ain't getting rid of that thing anytime soon. The counterbalancer, man, it really eliminates a lot of that shake.
Yeah.
It's smooth.
It's really heat. It's just not producing any heat. It's really, really, really smooth. The oil cooler in the front really does it work.
Liquid oil cooled heads.
You do feel that the frame is much stiffer. And
I think this is going to be one of the problem areas though, like once it does heat up and get pretty hot, because on the Fat Boy, or on the Fat Bob, my leg touched right there and I was like, woo. So like I had to get it away from it. Still cooler than they would be like on, say, like a pre-18 or non-Milwaukee 8.
if you remember correctly, the new models, most of them have the adjuster, the preload adjuster.
Right, yeah, it's going to be under the seat on this one, right?
This one's under the seat.
Yeah. They started doing new bolts with these things too. Flatheads instead of Phillips.
Right, but actually the length that they made here, well, the dip, the cut, it's actually for you to fit a key or a penny.
Nice.
So you can put a coin and just screw it off whenever you want.
That's cool. It's pretty nice how you can stand it up. It's one of the things whenever we stopped, I was like, one of the things I like a lot about the new 18 Harleys is the kickstands. The fact that they come down and they stand more upright versus like the one on my Dyna, you know, is like that. Leans way over.
Right.
But it's just being nitpicky. But it is one of those things that they paid attention to that, you know, it's nice. All right. Overall thoughts? Good bike, nice, torquey. Lacks a couple of the refinements of the more expensive ones, obviously. Seat's not really comfortable, but like I said, easily upgradable. Rider position is comfortable. I felt a little bit cramped up being 5'10", but it's going to be really good for, you know, the shorter riders because of the seat height, the rider position. The bars are actually a lot more comfortable than I thought, you know, with them coming up. Yeah, I mean, it's got a good amount of power.
Yeah, it's definitely basically a bike for you to a little step above the Sportsters. If you want to get, you know, if you want to get into the world of like really more hardcore riding, if it's going for a long distance, if it's even like, you know, stunt riding or anything you want, that's becoming much more popular. This is a bike to start with again in mind of budget.
Yeah. Well, this one has been highly requested through the channel, so if you guys are interested in the bike, if you guys are in the Central Florida area, you guys be sure to hit up my boy Eric here. You can call him Yarik if you come into the dealership. That was a nice little zipper. It's like blowing in the breeze.
Titanic references.
Yeah, hit up my boy Eric. If you guys do have any questions, post them up in the comments below. I'll answer them to the best of my abilities. If I don't know the answer, Eric will, or Aaron even. He's a real tech guy as well. If you guys enjoyed the episode, be sure to hit the like button. If you guys aren't subscribed already, be sure to hit the subscribe button as well. Hit the bell icon while you're over there so it sends you notifications whenever I do uploads or live streams or any of that good stuff. And until next time, you guys ride safe out there, stay vigilant, and I'll catch you later. Deuces.